Hi, everyone. This is Steve Delasan. Thank you guys for tuning into this week's edition of CEOs You Should Know. I am joined by JJ Garofalo, the CEO of Attorney Live. JJ, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for having us.
We're excited to jump in, learn a little bit about Attorney Live, but most importantly, learn a little bit more about you and your background. So why don't we kick it off talking about your journey? Tell us a little bit about your early career days and what led you to the role of CEO of Attorney Live.
Oh, where should I start? Maybe when I was 11.
Right? That was a loaded question.
Back in those entrepreneur days of starting a lawn business to lifeguard down at the ocean front in Virginia Beach, Virginia, to 18 years in the legal insurance industry. And so from the legal insurance industry, I had an epiphany and I was on a telehealth consultation with a doctor. And in that moment, once I got done with the call, I thought, wow, there's no legal provider that does telelaw that I can think of. And 18 years in the industry.
Yeah.
I typically know most of the providers, and that's when it just all started.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What were some of the diverse careers that you had along those 20 years?
Oh, gosh. I was a DJ for about 8 years.
Okay.
Oceanfront lifeguard. Started a lawn care company when I was about 10 years old with my buddy, and various other.
What were some of the things you might have learned in those roles that still you use today in a CEO role?
I think the most important thing is that it's all about being together. You know, it's not like just leading and pounding your chest and I'm the person and I'm the boss. It's more about working together collaboratively as a team.
Yeah,
for me.
That's a great mindset to have. So I know we talked about it a little bit, that moment on the telehealth that sparked that idea, right, to go into the legal space and ultimately what drove you to Attorney Live. What was the next steps coming out of that? Like, talk me through that mindset and that process.
So in October of 2019 is when the idea came up in my mind, and I met with a developer locally in a restaurant, like you would typically hear about a startup, that or a garage or whatever it may be. And I was fortunate enough to meet this developer, and we kind of kicked it off and concepted it out in the restaurant. And I had an idea exactly of like what I envisioned and we wanted to make this, and we just ended up growing it, and here we are today.
That's awesome to hear. So you've obviously transformed the legal industry with this. What has it been like since the first time you guys launched the app to where it is today?
So we've been through 2 different iterations of design with
Sure.
the mobile app for the user experience. June 17th this year, we kicked off a brand new redesign, which really was a
Congrats.
turning point. Thank you. Thank you. We were all very excited about it. It was a turning point for us. It was something that really made a huge different impact with the users. And when we first started, I think we've done 3 or 4 different versions of the website and just making sure the brand persona was right and iterating and deploying and iterating and deploying. So it's been a journey.
That's awesome. I know on a personal level, you've had some personal experiences of heartache and loss that really contributed to your ability to lead. Would you share with the listeners a little bit about that?
Sure. So growing up, like many people that have challenges, I had ADD, ADHD, dyslexia, pretty much all of the things that will skew your mind away from studying and reading and doing well on tests. And so I really had to train myself and my mind on how to hone in the skills that I had. And it took a while. It took me probably 6 years, really from like 4th grade to 9th grade, 10th grade, until I really knew how to hone it in and focus. But it was challenging. I hated tests. I wasn't good at really listening that often. And now I really pride myself on listening to and hearing people.
That's awesome. That's definitely inspiring for those individuals that are listening that could probably really relate, right? So yeah, I know you mentioned the challenges you faced with ADD and dyslexia growing up. Finding your voice probably was difficult along the way. How do you use that approach that you had during that time and overcoming those challenges to really influence this industry and your role as CEO?
Oh, well, you just have to stay true to who you are.
Mhm.
You have to be and do what you know is the right thing to do. I tell the team at Attorney Live all the time that it is all about them first. It's employee first. It's a very different concept for most companies. Employees first, then profits, and then shareholders. Now, shareholders might get a little mad if I just said that out loud. But it is all about the team first, making sure that their well-being and that their foothold is just steady and solid. and then that will produce the results that we need as a company.
I think that's a great mindset. The team's what's ultimately going to get you guys to your goals, so it's important to make sure that they're at the core of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know that integrity, leadership, community, they're all core values for you. How do you use those values in your day-to-day decisions and how you run Attorney Live?
So I'm a big advocate for obviously volunteering as well as philanthropy. And one of the things that really is true to my heart is it's called Virginia Beach CASA. So CASA is a national program.
Okay.
It's court-appointed special advocates for abused and neglected children. So there's chapters within each city and state, and it provides a safe and permanent home for children. And that is where I get a lot of my passion, giving back to people.
It's awesome.
Giving back to employees, just giving back in general makes me happy in life. And I think if more people could give back in the world, we'd be in a better place.
100%. So let's talk a little bit about the product.
Okay.
So can you give us an overview of what Attorney Live offers and how users could experience it that makes it different than other legal platforms?
Sure. So we focused a lot on user experience. We wanted to make sure it was very streamlined, very user-friendly. And the steps that the user goes through on the mobile app are about 3 or 4 easy-to-ask questions. What type of legal matter do you have? Where do you live? Where's your legal matter at? And give us some notes on what's going on in your life. And then it's super easy. They pick a date, and they pick morning, afternoon, or evening, and voila, they get an attorney connected with them from the comfort of their own home or on the go.
It's awesome. Yeah. Makes it as easy as possible for them. What challenges have you guys experienced? Obviously, a great idea from that teledoc experience and obviously successful now, but what were some of the bumps along the road?
So I didn't know tech at all. I was fortunate enough, again, to go back to the first senior developer that I worked with, taught me a lot. I am not an expert in tech. That is not necessarily my role, but it's been a great journey in understanding how software engineers and developers work and how they think. And it's been a very interesting journey, exciting journey, but also definitely days that you pause and you think, can we do this? I think we can. We should. We will. And so it's been a lot of fun.
That's awesome. With the legal industry, I know sometimes consumers could have a stigma around the legal experience, right? How are you guys overcoming that experience and making it a really positive user experience for those?
Well, a lot of people think that attorneys are, if you get in trouble or they're sort of scary. You see all these TV shows, right? And
of course,
they have this stigma that comes with them, like in courtrooms and fighting for somebody's rights. And most America also can't afford an attorney. The average attorney costs $320 an hour. You or I, can't afford those things.
Yep.
Low to middle income earners in America can't afford those things. And so what we've tried to do is break down the barrier. So attorney access in the legal community is easy to communicate with. The personalities meet the user, and it just opens up a whole new door for any American in the U.S. that wants legal access.
That's awesome. Well, you guys are obviously a very innovative company, being able to be really the first to the market with that. How do you still maintain that high quality service that people are looking for when they're tapping into legal services?
So we have a very thorough vetting process for our attorney network, all of the country. I also have a lot of experience in building national networks with the legal insurance business that I was in for 18 years.
Nice.
And so the process is rigorous. How many years of law have they practiced? What awards and accolades do they have? What types of legal matters are they expert in? Do they have a certain amount of liability insurance? To be on our network, they have to carry liability insurance. And so there's 6 to 7 qualifiers. Sure. And then our in-house staff will then review that and allow them on or deny them access on the
That's
network.
awesome.
Yeah.
All that vetting obviously helps you guys with the credibility, but also gives the peace of mind to the consumers when they choose you guys.
Yeah. It's it's an experience, and again, I pulled from those 18 years. So I knew what a lot of consumers wanted and needed, and technology-enabled solutions are the way of the world. I mean, we all live in a digitized world.
Yep, 100%.
So why not give it to them?
Yeah.
Make it easy, affordable, and fun.
Yep. Speaking of tech, right, you guys were obviously very innovative. How do you plan looking ahead to stay at the forefront of innovation in the legal space?
Sure. So We will add additional features, additional resources to our mobile app as we go along. We have the next year charted out very, very specifically on how we grow, where we grow, and why we want to grow in the way that we're going to grow. And so we're going to make sure that not only do we stay ahead of the market, but we become the household name for telelaw, which is an unknown market.
Yeah.
There's some providers that do something like it, but nowhere near the ease and user experience that we have.
That's awesome. Well, looking ahead, are there any challenges that you guys are expecting? And if so, how do you guys plan to overcome those?
So I feel pretty proud of the team because we already have some of the biggest providers in the industry watching us. I think it's because of the background that I've spoken to, the 18 years, but also the streamlined, impressive design of our mobile app and our attorney portal. We have two technologies.
Mm-hmm.
So we have our mobile app, and then we have our attorney portal, which is really a custom CRM that we've built for our attorney network too. So with a mixture of that and the progression of our marketing and where we're going and what we're doing, we'll stay light years ahead of everybody because of the team that we have.
That's awesome. Well, you have a lot of titles, right? You're CEO, you're a dad, but you still find time to do good. For those listening in, what advice would you give them to balance be between their day-to-day, but also being able to still give back to the community?
Through life, you have a ton of different experiences, and it's healthy to pause, reflect, and really sit back and look around you at what you've either created, done, whether it's family or your friends, and you have to have a healthy balance. You can't be too much consumed by one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't. Like, I've been there. I've had that challenge. And so I really have a mindset and very focused on making sure that I hang out with my 3 daughters, my wife. We spend quality time on the weekends. I might pull out the laptop every now and then. But it's just, family first and then work, which is the approach and culture that we have at Attorney Live as well.
That's
Your
awesome.
family's first, not this company.
Yep. It's a good mindset to have.
Yeah.
So going through the challenges you had growing up, what advice would you give anyone listening that might be going through a similar situation that you went through in childhood?
There is some profound people that everyone will know that I mention that have ADD, ADHD, dyslexia: Oprah Winfrey, Tom Cruise, Albert Einstein, some of the biggest and brightest minds in the world. Forget the country. And you just got to believe in yourself. Don't let anybody ever tell you that you can't do something. You have to have your own self-care and worth first. And so the outside factors used to affect me a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was just a turning point. It was through experiences, life challenges, experiences, and I just kept pushing and going. And the more I gave, the more I felt better about who I was and who I am and can be.
Mm-hmm.
Because giving is the best way to receive.
That's awesome. That's a great mindset and gives you the confidence to keep going and inspire others.
Yeah.
So speaking of advice, for those that are tuning in that might want to start their own company or they're aspiring entrepreneurs, what advice would you give someone?
Well, the first thing is go on Attorney Live to start a formation.
There you go.
LLC, S Corp, C Corp. Plan. Take your time. A lot of people rush into a business and rush into starting and opening the doors. Be very strategic. Know what type of business you want. You don't have to write a business plan. Everybody's about business plan. MBA programs, write a business plan. You don't have to do that. If you're doing something you love and you're passionate about, it'll work no matter what. But take your time when you do it. So once you do open the doors or start the business, you're that much further in being a success.
It's great advice. You learn a lot from your past experiences too.
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about the success right now. What are the future goals? What's next for Attorney Live?
Sure. Well, the main thing and the goal with the entire team is that we are going to become a household name in telelaw. So when anybody thinks attorneys and anybody has a legal matter, whether it's expected or unexpected life event, they think Attorney Live. So goal number 1 is a household name, telelaw.
Goal.
What's that?
Solid goal.
That's a pretty big goal.
Yeah.
But I think we can accomplish it because
Absolutely.
of the team we have in place. I think number 2 is to give back. We are going to be and will be somewhat of a cause-based app. And by that, I mean we are going to put a certain amount of funds aside once we get to be that household name
Hmm.
and give back to the community.
That's great.
So will the team. So those are our two main focus areas.
Two great goals. Well, we've covered a lot. We got to talk a little bit about you personally, obviously about Attorney Live. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you want the audience to know?
I think, people go a lot of times through life. They're so busy. They're on the go. They're not thinking about themselves and how to not only protect themselves, but just what should I do in life in general? And life events happen all the time. Whether it's, well, I just had a baby, or I just got married, or I just bought my first home, or my landlord's not nice, or whatever may happen, there's always a legal life event that happens in people's lives.
Hmm.
And so I think the biggest thing is that people need to focus on, again, I said this before, but themselves.
Hmm.
They've got to focus on themselves. And Attorney Live gives them the outlet to have peace of mind to go on with their life while a legal expert handles any of their needs.
That's awesome. Well, I'm excited to see what's next for Attorney Live. JJ, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your personal experiences, the story of the creation. Definitely very inspirational for everybody that's tuning in. So thank you for being here today.
Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Tune in next week for next week's edition of CEOs You Should Know.